So the first game on our list for this episode is Gaia.
Designed by Olivier Rolko. Artist is Julien Castanié. And it's published, I think we played TIKI edition?
Yes.
Sound right? Yep.
So I'm not going to go over all the rules, but I'll give you a good idea how the game is played. There are basically terrain cards. I don't remember. I think they're called nature cards. And let's just start with the idea of the game. You've got 5 meeples, and you're trying to get them all out on a world that you're creating. So everybody's helped creating this world in the middle of the table. It starts off with nothing. Otherwise, people are going to play cards to put tiles into play, like forests and mountains and stuff like that, to build a world. Your hand essentially is made up of 3 different cards, or you've got nature cards, which are going to allow you to play one of those cards and then play the matching tile for it. So I play a forest card. I grab a forest tile. They're all the same. I put it on the board. If it's the first one, it just starts there. Otherwise, you put it orthogonally adjacent to any other tile that's in play. Then you have like these life cards, I believe they're called. They're blue. And these are going to be able to put cities out on the board. And this is what primary way of where you're going to get guys out from. When you place a city, it has to place on a certain terrain type. And then it's going to have these requirements for that city, which is essentially what tiles need to be adjacent to it. Once you match at least 2 of those requirements, you're allowed to put one of your meeples on it. If somebody comes along and makes the requirements greater, such as, like it needs 2 mountain ranges and a forest and whatever. So I only meet 2 of those, but maybe I only meet 1 of the forest, and Matt comes along and puts another forest next to it. It's going to be meeting 3 requirements of the card, and now Matt gets to take my place. That is kind of an optional rule, I believe. And then you have these action cards, which have different abilities. You can change terrain types to different things. You can zap different tiles and clear everything off of it. And then there's a couple of other specials, which we'll get into, I guess, when we're talking. And so what happens is on your turn, you have 2 actions. You basically either can play a card or draw a card. And you can do it, 2 draws, or you can play twice, or you can do 1 of each. And you're going to, when you draw cards, each of the 3 decks have like a display. The nature has like 3 cards out. And then the blue cards, the life cards have 2 cards out. And the action cards, there's 2 of those available. So you can pick up any of those cards, and then, or you can play a card from your hand. And as you play pretty much all the cards, they'll stay in front of you, and you'll use those to complete like objective cards that are preset for the game. So you, depending on the player count, you put so many of these out. And so it might say build 2 forests and 2 deserts, and you get this. And that's another way you can get one of your meeples out. Anyway, it keeps going around, doing 2 actions apiece until somebody has got all 5 of their guys out. I guess the only other thing to mention is that the city, it has 5 requirements on it. Is it 5? Maybe it's 4.
I think it's 4.
I think it's 4. Once you meet all the requirements on that city, and you basically have the perfect requirements, that player gets to put 2 of their meeples out. So it's a really powerful way to get meeples out, because 2 of your 5, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's all the ways to get meeples out.
Well, you can put down at the beginning of the game, you have 5 different ways to get other meeples out by putting down certain cards.
Yeah,
so
if you put
I just said that. Yeah, the objectives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Objectives and then the cities.
Yeah. It's a relatively simple game.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, you just take turns doing 2 actions apiece, either playing cards, drawing cards, building the landscape, trying to put down these cities. And as you put down cities, trying to meet the requirements. Since you only have 2 actions, you're pretty much never going to be able to like perfectly create the city. So you have to rely on other people to kind of put things in place or try to steal it from them. There is a small optional take that expansion kind of deal in the book. It comes with the game. And this is where you have like a volcano and
Is it
Lightning
earthquake
bolt?
in it?
maybe it's the lightning bolt. Yeah, the volcano, you choose a mountain, it blows up everything around it. Lightning bolt just zaps one space.
Earthquake was 1 too.
Yeah, earthquake. Maybe the lightning bolt's already in it. I don't know. Because we pretty much play with all of it. And then I have a little expansion pack, or it's like a little promo pack.
Right.
Not really worth mentioning for this purpose, though. Otherwise, though, it's a pretty fast game. I mean, like 30, 40 minutes or so. And so let's talk about our thoughts, and we think of anything else we can bring it up. Mostly the special abilities, which I should get the sheet out so we can remember
Reference
some of these. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Matt, what'd you think about this one?
This game was okay. I liked it better, I think, without the other special stuff. Just for, I felt like when we played it with all that, it drug on a little bit. But
Like without the take that?
yeah,
Yeah.
and mainly just because it had the locking in rule where your two meeples came out and they stayed there. And the reason for that is because I felt like when it made the game a lot longer than what I really wanted it to be, playing it with everything else.
I agree.
Yeah. Real quick, the stealing the city is an advanced rule, and the 4 needs of a city. When you fully meet the four needs, you put 2 meeples. That's an advanced rule. I don't necessarily think I would play without those rules, though.
Right.
So I don't consider it it's like the base game is kind of like play this once and then go on to the advanced game permanently.
Mm-hmm.
The optional stuff, other than the power cards, which is also technically optional, I would leave them in there, although I do have some problems with some of them.
Yeah.
The disasters variant is the one that has the lightnings and the eruptions from the volcano.
Gotcha.
All right, so
See, I probably feel differently about it. I'll let you elaborate on it, just because I feel like it drags the game along with some of the special power cards. But as far as the base gameplay, I do like the fact, there's 3 cards there you can kind of pick from, and I actually like the fact that if you don't like any of those, you can gamble with the top card.
That's true.
That's
yeah.
always fun. And you are picking between if you want lands or special abilities. But yeah, as far as the gameplay, it's kind of fun, but I just felt like with all the other stuff, it drug it on a little bit, and I didn't care for the longer version of the game we played.
That's fair. To add on to the drawing of the top deck, I also think that's super important because people, if they remember what people are drawing, you'll know, like, for instance, if you draw a card, I know that you're going after that objective with the 2 mountains or the 2 forests and the 2 desert or whatever it is. So I'm like, if I see you drawing forest, I'm kind of like, oh man, now I have to go after something else. So you can kind of use that as a strategy of top decking it. Hopefully you get a terrain card that you didn't have that you need it, and they have no idea that you're still going after it. So it kind of wastes their time because maybe you already have 1 down. So you're already 1 ahead of them kind of deal. Anyway, it happened. That's why I brought it up.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Well, I think it's fairly light game. I think it's on the basic level, and maybe good for families.
like a gateway family.
Yeah. So I do like the artwork and the box art. So that's all well and good. Like you said, I don't like some of the abilities you can do, such as the sun, where it drives out
the combo.
yeah,
The combo.
the combo that
The
I
combo.
use. I have to use it because it's there, but I don't like it. You can use a sun to dry out a place, which causes them to lose
Like a
a
requirement.
section, a requirement, and then you play the rain, which brings it back, and then you can just easily steal stuff or
Yeah.
even multiple things.
Yeah, because the
just with
sun
one
takes
combo.
it from like terrain type A to B or B to C, and then the other one takes it from C to B or B to A,
Right.
kind of deal. So yeah, you can bring it from like drop the swamp, bring the swamp back. It's
Right.
like it meets the requirement. It's so cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a cheesy move, especially when they have it completed with all 4, and they have
Right.
2 guys on it, and you just go pop plop because that's your 2 actions.
Mm-hmm.
Draw it up, bring it back. My
it would
2
be
guys are out.
easy to maybe get rid of it, saying that you can only use 1 action card a turn.
That's
I think
true.
that would fix it for me, but as is,
Well, I mean, they do have like the little, I guess it is worth mentioning the shield where you can cancel an action card. But unless you have it,
mm-hmm.
I mean, other people may not care unless it's going to win them the game
Right.
or win that other person the game. So, yeah. I think I like the game, although, I think the design of the game is fine and the game is fine. It just doesn't, it's not a good game for me because the one thing I don't care for in games, not just this game,
Mm-hmm.
is the idea of waiting for other players to set you up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's fun when that happens in a game that's not
Well,
the purpose of it, but this
Not
game's
really
all
even
about
waiting
setups.
for the setup. Well, it is trying to set up because you are waiting for the opportune time to put down your meeple into a city,
Yeah, but you're not doing that
ideally-
unless other people have already started it.
Right. Ideally, if you can just go ahead and get all 4 locations in
How?
beforehand.
How are you gonna do that? What do you mean beforehand?
if you're able to.
That's
right.
because other people have been putting those tiles out. It's
Well-
unlikely that you're gonna build a city to a max alone.
Yes. But it kind of just prevents you from doing anything because you don't want to put down a city and put a meeple on it because Tim right after you could put down 1 card and take it over
Yeah.
right away. So that's another part that I didn't
It's like a
care
huge
for.
game of chicken the whole
Mhm.
time. You're like,
It's like, do they have a force in their hand? And of course, if you're playing with 3 or 4 players, more than likely someone's going to have something to be able to take it over. Maybe it's going to be better as a 2-player game where, all right, I kind of know what they have in their hand because I've been watching what they get.
it might be, excuse me, it might be really cool as a 2-player. The other thing to mention about 2-player is you have 6 meeples, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. So I think maybe it would even be a better 2-player game than 3 or 4.
That's true. We have not played it 2. That actually might be something I want to try.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing is the artwork on the tiles. There are 2 sides of it, which I highly think is awesome of them because one is very abstract to where it's like a color and it has the symbol,
Mm-hmm.
which is what is on all the city cards and all the cards in your hand and stuff like that. The other side of it is like real art, not real artwork. You know what I'm saying? Like artwork of a forest or artwork of a swamp.
Right.
And I think a couple of them, depending on your lighting and stuff like that, might get a little bit. I know it sounds dumb to think you don't know what a swamp or a desert looks like, but when
Right.
you see them and you're playing it, it's at a distance. You can kind of be like, oh man, it is a swamp. Never mind. Okay, I'll take it back.
Right.
It happened, so that's why I bring it up. But
Yeah.
I like the abstract side a lot better.
Yeah, I do too. You can just flip over tiles and choose which one that you like better.
Well, I think you want to keep the whole game
Well,
on
yes.
that route, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, you can choose which side of the tile you're going to use for that game.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, if you don't like the abstract stuff and you kind of want it to look like more of a world, play with the art side. So, yeah, I like that part. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yep, the take that cards, I'd leave them out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the disaster variants or whatever,
Yeah.
that is way too annoying. It's crazy.
Or the tornado where you take one from everybody else.
That's actually just in the
That's
action
the base
cards.
game,
Oh, is
right?
it?
Yeah, that was
That is also dumb.
Yeah. I didn't really like that card as well.
Yeah, but basically what that does is it takes a card from each player and you get to look at the back of the card. So you can be like, I'm taking your 1 action card or I'm taking your 1 life card or whatever
Right.
from each player. And then you choose 1, keep, and the rest get discarded.
Right.
That is a lot of power in 1 card.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you keep your shields for.
because you pretty much took a half a turn away from somebody.
Yeah. Or, that's true.
Oh,
yeah.
that's-
Because it's pretty much one of their actions because they drew that card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially because you're like, I know that you just drew that cancel. So, I mean, do you play it on this or I guess you would.
Right. Might as
So,
well.
Maybe that wouldn't be the perfect scenario, but
Right.
maybe they drew action cards to like complete their death combo or TM or whatever that Eric was doing. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I recommend it, but I don't know if it's, it's not my style of game because I don't like that whole wait for other people to set you up.
Right.
But if you like that type of game where it's like, what's he going to do? I'm going to wait. All right, bam, I'm going to capitalize on this situation. Then it is a really good game in that aspect.
Mhm.
Or for what the weight of it is. I'm not saying this game is like crazy complex. It's definitely on a 1 to 10, I'd say it maybe is a 4.
Sure.
On a complexity level, it's not really
Maybe a
that hard of a game.
3.
Maybe even a 3, yeah. And I'm not saying a fun level. 'Cause
Right.
that is subjectional to
Plague
everyone.
or, yeah.
Yeah. So we liked it. We enjoyed it. But yeah, there are some sticky problems to it. So
Right.
anything else? Final thoughts?
No.
Nope. That's it.
All right. Well, that's Gaia.